This is the sad story of God's prophet who was killed by a lion, a thrilling and mysterious biblical narrative. Welcome to a dark and remarkable chapter in the book of 1 Kings, where the saga of a man of God sent to Bethel reveals the tragic fate that befell him for his disobedience. This episode not only highlights divine sovereignty, but also the crucial importance of obedience to God's commandments and the grave consequences of disobedience. At a time of great spiritual deviation in Israel, following the division of the kingdom under Jeroboam, God appointed a man from Judah, a prophet, to bring a message of judgment to the king. Jeroboam, who had set up altars to the hope of idols in rebellion against God, was sacrificing on the altar at Bethel when the prophet was sent. Let's understand this story. After the death of King Solomon, the kingdom of Israel goes through a tumultuous period of divisions and political instability. Jeroboam, a former officer of Solomon, takes command of the northern kingdom, made up of 10 of the 12 Israelite tribes. This reign is marked by controversial and foolish decisions, including the creation of centers of idolatrous worship in Bethel and Dan, directly challenging the worship centered on the temple in Jerusalem. The separation between the northern and southern kingdoms not only causes political instability, but also instigates a period of spiritual tension with distorted religious practices. The division of the kingdoms, although part of the divine plan as a consequence of the deviations of the House of Solomon, leads to the introduction of a distorted form of worship in Israel. The stage is set for the tragic fate of the prophet sent from Judah to confront this spiritual rebellion. An anonymous prophet is sent from Judah to Bethel, a place marked by disobedience and idolatrous worship established by Jeroboam. His mission is to directly confront the idolatrous altar established there, symbolizing the spiritual rebellion of the northern kingdom. Upon arriving at Bethel, the prophet proclaims the word of the Lord against the altar and the corrupt practices carried out there. The message brought by the man of God is a clear warning of divine justice and a call to true obedience. Even in the face of risk and opposition, he remains faithful to his purpose of restoring the purity of worship to the Lord in the midst of the apostasy prevailing in Bethel. His courage in facing opposing forces reveals not only his devotion to the cause of God, but also exemplifies the importance of unwavering faithfulness in the face of adversity. What was the divine mission of the prophet of Judah? The prophet arrived at Bethel and boldly before the king and the crowd, proclaimed a divine message, "O altar, altar! Thus says the Lord, a son will be born to the house of David, whose name will be Josiah, and he will sacrifice on you the priests of the high places, who will burn incense on you, and human bones will be burned on you." 1 Kings 13 verse 2. As a sign that this prophecy would be fulfilled, the altar split in half and the ashes that were on it spilled out. King Jeroboam, furious at the prophet's boldness, stretched out his hand to arrest him, but at the same moment, his hand withered and became paralyzed. The king, frightened and unable to move his hand, begged the prophet to pray to the Lord so that his hand would be restored. The prophet prayed, and God restored the king's hand. Impressed by the power of God, Jeroboam invited the prophet to come to his house, offer him food and reward, but the chosen prophet, faithful to the instruction that God had given him, did not accept. This story is in 1 Kings 13 7-9. After fulfilling his mission, the prophet of Judah left Bethel by another route, as ordered by God. However, another prophet, an elderly man, lived in Bethel and heard about the actions of the prophet of Judah. His sons, who witnessed everything, told their father what had happened. Curious and perhaps with other interests, the old prophet saddled his donkey and went after the prophet of Judah. When he found him resting under a tree, he met him to return to his house and eat. The prophet of Judah, firm in his determination, replied, "I cannot return with you, nor enter your house. Neither will I eat bread nor drink water with you in this place, for so I have been commanded by the word of the Lord." This message is found in 1 Kings 13 verses 16 to 17. However, the old prophet lied, saying that an angel of the Lord had spoken to him, telling him that he could eat and drink in his house. The old prophet's deceitful word prevailed, and the prophet of Judah, believing him, returned to the old man's house, disobeying the divine command. God's judgment came quickly. While they were at the table, the Spirit of the Lord came upon the old prophet, and he announced to the prophet of Judah the justice of God. Thus says the Lord, because you rebelled against the mouth of the Lord and did not keep the commandment which the Lord your God commanded you, but returned and ate bread and drank water in the place where I said to you, you shall not eat bread nor drink water, therefore your body shall not be buried in the tomb of your fathers. This message is found in 1 Kings 13 verses 21 to 22. After this prophetic prophecy, the prophet of Judah prepared to leave. He mounted his donkey and set off on his journey. However, on the way, a lion found him and killed him. The animal did not devour his body, nor did it attack the donkey. Instead, the lion responded to the dead body of the prophet, along with the donkey. This scene was so unusual that those who witnessed it ran to the city and told what had happened. The sad reflection of the old prophet. The old prophet, upon hearing the report, went to the place where the body of the prophet of Judah had fallen. He found the lion standing beside the corpse and the donkey, a clear sign that his death was not a natural attack but divine justice. The old prophet picked up the body, placed it on his donkey, and took it to Bethel, where he buried it in his own tomb, lamenting, "Woe, my brother!" After burying him, the old prophet gave orders to his sons, saying that when he died, his body should be buried next to the prophet of Judah. He knew that the word that the prophet of Judah had proclaimed against the altar of Bethel would come true. The prophecy foretold that a future king, Josiah, would destroy the idolatrous altars and burn the bones of the priests who served there, fulfilling God's justice. This story reveals not only the importance of absolute obedience to God, but also the danger of being deceived by false instructions, even when they come from seemingly confidential sources. The prophet of Judah fulfilled a divine purpose, but his disobedience was proven by his death. The presence of the lion beside his body, without devouring it, was a powerful sign that his death was the direct result of transgressing a clear divine command. This passage provides a profound lesson about the cost of disobedience and the weight of the choices we make, especially in matters involving our faith and trust in God's words. This story brings a deep reflection on obedience and being careful with the influences we receive, even from sources that appear to be trustworthy. What do you think? Have you ever been in a situation where you disobeyed something important and suffered the consequences? Leave your comment below. Share your thoughts with others and subscribe to the channel for more content about deep and impactful biblical stories. Don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. God bless you.